Coming to you from Rochester, Minnesota, our town. Welcome to Our Town, the show about Rochester. I'm Nicole and today we were previously scheduled to wrap up our Rochester City Council candidate discussions with Council President candidates Brooke Carlson and Kathleen Harrington. Unfortunately, due to a family emergency, the candidates were unavailable, so we are happy to be joined instead by Brent Ackerman, Assistant Director of Communications from the Rochester Area Chamber of Commerce, and a show regular now, Holly Masek, Executive Director of the Rochester Downtown Alliance, to talk about local business efforts in these challenging times. Welcome to Our Town, both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So there's a lot to talk about when it comes to local businesses and the economy, of course. And, you know, consumers and people in the community are trying to figure out, you know, how and when to support local businesses. What's a safe way to navigate businesses in our community right now. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. So Brent, I was hoping we could start with you. If you could tell us a little bit about the hashtag Shop Local Safely campaign.
Yeah, we're really excited about this. Shop Local Safely is a multimedia, multi-month, multi-partner plan. We're working with a lot of great partners such as RDA, also Mayo Clinic, and very closely with Olmsted County Public Health too. Now is really the time for all of us to do everything we can to support our local small businesses by shopping local safely. A lot of them have been very diligent in making local shopping very safe, both for their customers and for their employees. And many have really kind of had to innovate during this time by creating websites, maybe adding online shopping and offering various services like delivery or curbside pickup. And soon you'll be seeing things blasted all over the place, posters, stickers, billboards, social media, traditional media, all working to help build that community support for Shop Local Safely. Retail success is really important, but especially during the holiday season too. So the whole purpose of Shop Local Safely is to make sure that people support our local businesses who employ 1 out of 3 people in Olmsted County, strengthen our tax base, and, you know, the small businesses represent the backbone of our economy. So we really want to do all we can to help support them.
Great. Yeah, you talked about sort of all the businesses having to learn new skills, really, and new ways to deliver their services and their products. In looking at the Shop Local Safely campaign, there was an emphasis on businesses developing their COVID preparedness plan. Could you talk a little bit about what are some key elements in a strong COVID preparedness plan for a business?
Yeah, well, this is really timely because everybody kind of had to do that at the beginning of the pandemic. But just this past Friday, we had some folks on from Olmsted County Public Health to talk about preparedness plans. And it's really a good time to go back and sort of refresh and revisit some of that. Obviously, your basic safety measures like masks, social distancing, hand sanitizing, and any other requirements from the executive order or state guidance are important. Employee illness, for example, is really important. What do you do if someone's sick? When we had Olmsted County Public Health on, they suggested that businesses operationalize their plan to be more business specific. For example, a retail store is different than a dentist's office. So each business is encouraged to make their plans as comprehensive as they can. And if you're stuck or you don't, you know, if you have questions, Olmsted County Public Health said, please reach out to us. We want to help you in any way we can.
Great, thank you. And Holly, for you over at RDA, how are you all working to support local downtown businesses? And I know we spoke a little bit earlier this summer about just opportunities that were available. What continuing opportunities are available for businesses through RDA right now?
Great, thank you. We have done a number of different things. We found ourselves to be grant makers this summer because we couldn't be event hosts as we often are. So we were able to manage the Keep It Local grant process for the city, which created grant opportunities for businesses that needed to make those pivots that Brent was talking about. Maybe they needed a website for the first time and were to stand up an e-commerce platform, which they'd never had before. Some of them made physical alterations to their businesses, like creating a takeout window. We also worked on the cafe expansion plan with the city for our downtown businesses and restaurants who needed to capture some of those parking spaces or alleys or drive lanes to create outdoor dining spaces where people could socially distance and restaurants could expand their capacity a little bit since there were limitations on that. And since then, we've had second rounds of both of those grants. So we'd Keep It Local back in April, and then we had a larger round with CARES funding this past fall. We had our Sidewalk Cafe expansion grant with some downtown specific funding that we had available, and now using some CARES funding, we're able to offer that program to the entire city. So it's been very nice during this extremely difficult period of time to find so many new partners and to find new opportunities to collaborate when usually we're so downtown focused. Of course, we are very interested in supporting our downtown businesses. It's always been our main mission. Lately, we have produced some other opportunities. We had the Downtown Small Business Relief Fund, which was an amazing $1 million anonymous grant to our downtown businesses to support them in grant amounts from about $2,000 to $18,000 when all was said and done. We were able to support 85 different businesses. And the hope with that is that we can maintain the vibrancy and a lot of the uniqueness of downtown through what's likely going to be an extra challenging period these next few months. We're seeing some numbers rise. We know that wintertime really puts a limitation on outdoor dining, so that's a big challenge as well. We're very excited about launching a Gift Rochester program for Mayo Clinic to shop locally for their holiday gifts. And so we are piloting that program with downtown businesses, though there may be opportunities for expansion later on. And that project is being built by local design and branding firm Whitespace. And they are building that off of something that they did at the very beginning of the pandemic called Gift Rochester for Easter baskets. So Mayo Clinic came to us and said, we really want to give locally this year. We aren't going to be having holiday parties. What could we do? And so it's an amazing step that allows the incredible purchasing power of Mayo Clinic. They have 39,300 employees, I just learned, in Rochester, to buy locally with these curated gifts, the Gift Rochester. And I think then of course, all of our holiday programming, but we can come to that if you want.
Yeah, we'll certainly get into that for sure. Thank you both. I mean, that's a wealth of information that and work that has been keeping you all busy throughout these last few months. And you did mention.
I have one more that.
Go ahead, Holly.
Oh, can I? Because it's something we're working on directly with the chamber, and neither Brent nor I mentioned it. I was just gonna ask about partnerships with you. If you want to talk, because you mentioned partnerships. If you could talk a little bit about how you've been working with the chamber and with RDA, Brent and Holly. Absolutely. Well, I'll just mention this one because it's pretty exciting, and it brings in another local partner, which is Tiffany Alexandria from Choo Choo Kachoo. She's a local food blogger, and a number of entities in Rochester have been trying to keep the restaurant information updated. Who's open? Who has delivery? Who has takeout? Who's got outdoor dining? Who's got outdoor dining in the wintertime? What's available? And so I think we all realized it's such a big job to keep it updated. We couldn't do it on our own. And Tiffany had started building out a really great platform for that at the beginning of the pandemic. So the Chamber and RDA have pooled their resources to support Tiffany doing that work on our behalf.
Brent, did you want to add anything?
In fact,
Brent, do you want to build on that at all?
Yeah, we just sent out an email today reminding people to update it for the winter months, and for those who still haven't signed up to do so. And then we even put the RDA grant that was talked about earlier, the cafe, because that I believe it has been extended, and as Holly mentioned earlier, that's open to beyond just downtown, the whole city of Rochester. So we're trying to let our restaurants and bars know to stay engaged and that there is support and help out there.
Fantastic. So it's the hashtag RochMN Food Partnership. And then Brent, how can people, if you're a restaurant and a local business, how can you get more information if you didn't get this communication today?
Yeah, if you just go to rochmnfood.com, it will come up with a website, and then there's a way to add a restaurant to the list. You can also update your restaurant, and of course, it's for the consumers too to be able to view restaurants, whether they're downtown or just beyond in the entire city of Rochester. So it's consumer friendly, it's restaurant friendly, and if you just go to rochmnfood.com, you'll be able to find everything you need.
Fantastic. I've checked it out and it's pretty awesome. before we head on to our midpoint break here, I did want to start the conversation about the fact that winter is actually here. We've had snow and sort of drops in temperature, and some of the creative solutions that had come out over the summer were around anything outdoors. And so I'm wondering, what are some of the creative solutions that either the Chamber or RDA in partnership with other businesses are considering now as to get us through the winter?
Well, let me start real quickly, and then I'll let Holly get into some of those specifics. I do want to mention that as we head into the holiday season, that in addition to the Roch MN Food website, the Chamber is developing a website called shop-local-safely.com, which we were inspired by the Roch MN Food website. So we have created and are currently populating this Shop Local retail directory, kind of along the same lines. The purpose is to give consumers that one-stop site for shopping local, hours of operation, contact information, maps, products and services, maybe if they have online ordering or delivery curbside options. Instead of people just automatically going to Amazon, we're kind of trying to create our own little local sort of Amazon type thing. And again, we want people to think of that first. Think of your local businesses first and maybe go to that website but before you just do the easy thing and just order from Amazon. It's really important to support our local businesses.
Holly?
Yes. Outdoors, right? That's what we're looking at now. Okay.
How are we going to get through the winter?
How are we going to get through the winter? Exercise, eat right, sleep a lot, drink your water. Beyond that, I would say we are looking at kind of a upside to winter for us. We were very careful with our programming in the summertime because we really didn't want to create crowding situations. And we are now feeling like it's a little bit safe for us to program outside because it's cold and people will naturally disperse. So over the holidays, we are going to be doing a number of very fun things downtown. One that we're super excited about is that we're partnering with Hiawatha Homes Festival of Trees, which usually has its tree fundraiser indoors out just after Thanksgiving. And I know it's a very well attended and much loved event. They run supportive housing and services for people with disabilities. And so it's a great cause. And they needed homes for their trees. And so we are going to display them throughout downtown in vacant storefronts and other unexpected locations. And so you can safely go see these trees by foot with your family. There's plenty of space to spread out. And all of them will be on display November 27th through 29th, but then a number of them are going to stay downtown through the rest of December. We're also going to have a drive-through parade for Here Comes Santa Claus rather than have a big gathering down below. So families can put their kids in their jammies, stick them in the car, drive through, wave to Santa, have a good time, and then maybe go see the trees. That'll be November 27th. Additionally, on Small Business Saturdays, we are pluralizing it every Saturday from after Thanksgiving to Christmas. We'll be encouraging you to come shop downtown safely, shop local safely. And we're going to have fire pits out on Peace Plaza. We will have music. And everything will be just a little bit more spread out than it would normally be. We're going to be avoiding lines, avoiding crowding, but giving you the opportunity over an extended period of time to come experience some of that holiday magic downtown, but also feel like you can do so in a way that's safe for you and at whatever comfort level you're at.
Wonderful. Well, we have to head out for a break, and then we can continue if you have anything else to add to that, Holly. But that's really exciting to hear. We'll be right back to hear more from Holly and Brent. Stay tuned.
Our Town is brought to you in part by the following amazing people and organizations:
the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota,
and the members of KSMQ Public Television. Thank you. For more information about this story and other Our Town features, connect with us on Facebook, Twitter at KSMQ #OurTown, or ksmq.org/ourtown. 뻔한 그냥 알고 있어
Welcome back. We've been talking to Brent Ackerman of the Rochester Area Chamber of Commerce and Holly Masek of Rochester Downtown Alliance about efforts to ensure local businesses in our economy are supported during these challenging times. So welcome back, and thank you all for all that you shared at the top of the show about the work that each of your organizations have been doing. And I wanted to continue with you, Holly. You were talking about the community programming that you're thinking about continuing, or you are going to be continuing this winter. I know Social Life is a big part of that calendar of community events that community members look forward to. What can we expect this year?
Well, Socialize, we don't know yet, but we are going to try to do it. So basically, we're clearly going to have to look at a dispersed model. If you have attended Socialize in the past, at its peak, hundreds of people are crammed together, dancing in between the bars to DJs and lights, and it's wonderful and fun and energetic and cool and super COVID unfriendly. So we are not going to be doing that model this year. But we know that people, especially by end of January, early February, you know, we need something to look forward to here. And so we're looking at different options. We're going to begin conversations with a lot of the bars that usually participate in the events, as well as our production team soon, to see what we think we can do. We've had a lot of learning over the last couple of months. We've been talking to a lot of peer organizations that are trying to run events in a safe way. And we're really open to feedback. If people have ideas about how we could do this in a way that feels safe for them, and we want it to be supportive of local businesses, we want it to draw safe business downtown. So we are very, very open to making this kind of community planned event to make sure it works out.
Wonderful. We'll stay tuned and see if you have any updates as the weeks go on. You know, there's so many great efforts going on, and I think a question on a lot of people's minds is, how is our local economy actually faring? And I don't know, Brent, if you have any idea from a chamber perspective, how well we've been doing to keep things afloat since the pandemic started.
I mean, it's definitely been a challenging time, and many businesses, as we mentioned earlier, have had to innovate and be creative in order to survive. And I think a lot of them have, and some have even indicated to us that even post-pandemic, they might take some of these things that they've learned and use them going forward. The whole purpose of the Shop Local Safely campaign is actually to build consumer confidence about safety precautions that local businesses have taken to protect their customers and themselves. And whether it's in person or online, safety is really a top priority to keep businesses open and to keep our economy going. So that's really been our focus, is figuring out ways to do things differently.
Yeah. I love that. I love the idea that there's some lessons learned that can be sustained even after this is all over, that are creative and innovative. And of course, while all small and local businesses have been hit hard by the pandemic, according to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the pandemic has hit minority-owned small businesses disproportionately hard. In what ways are the Chamber and RDA specifically engaging and supporting these businesses in our community?
Well, I'll start by saying that we have some ongoing programming and resources, such as our We Forums for women entrepreneurs and our virtual women's roundtables. And we're also in the process of putting together a list of minority-owned businesses in our area, and would encourage minority-owned businesses to reach out to us with any questions or concerns they have. We'd like to advocate on their behalf and support them in any way we can. So it's an ongoing process. And we certainly are looking forward to continuing to do more.
Holly, are there any ways in which RDA has been engaging with minority-owned businesses downtown?
Yep. It's been, I think, well, I mean, it's been an eye-opening year for everyone. And I think the main takeaway that we have learned is that our normal reach out of, we'll email it and assume that you're going to get the message and participate in this fantastic opportunity, is not always going to get the job done. And that we need to be more actively reaching out to groups that are underrepresented, people we know are downtown that maybe English is not their first language, they need a little assistance. And so it's on us to do more work, to be more deliberate about our outreach, to do those drop-ins and actually knock on the door or text or meet people the way they need to be met, to make sure that every business downtown knows that all of these opportunities are for all of them. and that if they need a little extra assistance, we are ready and willing to provide it. I've been really pleased to informally observe that some of our businesses seem to be adopting each other. So if you are someone who's super email savvy and you've been here for a long time and you know all the ins and outs, I've seen some of those businesses actually adopt some of the newer businesses or businesses that are run by people who are not native English speakers and make sure that they're understanding all the opportunities as well. And that's been very cool. I just like to see that downtown businesses are helping each other.
Yeah, that's fantastic to hear. Go ahead, Hilly.
Oh, I just want to say, like Brent said, there's always more to do. We have so much to do. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, so obviously the economic conversation and the local business conversation that we're having this year can't be divorced from the pandemic, and it also can't be divorced too from sort of the political climate that we're in. And so I wanted to just talk a little briefly about voting and elections and sort of the ways in which the Chamber and RDA have been involved in civic engagement around businesses in Rochester. So how have both of your organizations been involved in just informing businesses about the issues at hand with the upcoming election?
Well, from the Chamber standpoint, as in past years, we've been very involved in partnering with the League of Women Voters, the Post Bulletin, the Rochester Public Library, to host a series of candidate forums, both for the primary and for the general election. So we were very involved with all of those, coming up with questions and things like that. And on our website, we have resources, voting resources and information available if people need to know where their polling site is and all that kind of stuff. So we've always been very engaged in the process, and this year was no exception.
Holly?
And for us, we were very happy to host a candidate forum this year during one of our quarterly stakeholder meetings. We had the 2 at-large candidates come speak, as well as the 2 candidates that would represent downtown. And it was great to get to hear their thoughts on what could happen for us in the future and allow an avenue for some of our downtown businesses to speak to those candidates. Of course, a lot of our downtown businesses don't live downtown, so they're not necessarily voting for that candidate. So that makes it a really interesting dynamic. However, we also were excited to get engaged with the county this year and assist in getting the message out about the census. We know there's a growing downtown population, and we want to make sure that they're counted and that we know more about them. We also want to make sure that, you know, side benefit that population knows about all the businesses downtown and knows about all the wonderful resources that they have available to them. Downtown really is a neighborhood now. We have a growing population. Over 600 housing units have been added since 2014. So I want us to see it start functioning like more of a neighborhood and making sure that we're communicating with each other and getting all the messages out about how to be engaged.
Well, thank you both. As we're sort of wrapping up here, you know, Brent, you mentioned consumer confidence and how you've been talking just a lot about getting people to come downtown and be part of, you know, a socially distanced and safe way of engaging with our local businesses. I would just ask if both of you could just share some sort of final words to inspire some consumer confidence as people are heading into the holiday season, and also maybe not have as much money as they might have had last year at this time.
Well, I think one of your questions before too, Nicole, was about civic engagement with our businesses. And I'll speak on behalf of, I think, the businesses. I think we have a really engaged local business community. In the beginning of the pandemic, there were some needs, food drives and that kind of thing. And I just saw today that Victoria's, which is a downtown restaurant, was just named the nicest place in Minnesota by Reader's Digest. They've donated 3,000 free meals to those in need, for example. And another example of community engagement is Spirit Days, which the Chamber was involved with, that had to do with food and coat drives and service projects and things like that. So I think we have a very engaged community, not only the business community, but the residents looking out for one another. And to me, that's what's been so encouraging. Whenever we've had things like the Great Flood of 1978 or the tornado that started Mayo Clinic, this community has always come together, and that inspires me.
Thank you so much, Brent.
Yeah, our business community is amazing. I mean, even they've taken such a huge hit this year, and they're still giving generously and finding ways to give back. And in whatever ways customers can support them. I hope they will. And I think just knowing that downtown is for everybody. If you come and buy a $3 hot chocolate, you are helping to support the entire economy, and that makes a difference to a business owner. I also want to say all of the programming that we're offering this year is free. We want to make sure that everyone can enjoy it, and that even if you can't buy anything at all downtown, we still want to see you here, and we want you to know that this is a neighborhood for you, and a really welcoming. Everyone is welcome downtown.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both so much for all the work that you've been doing and for the time that you spent sharing more about those efforts for your respective organizations. And thank you all for joining us today. I hope that you'll look at all the resources that Holly and Brent have shared with us today. And we also just wanted to put in a plug or a friendly reminder that the polls are up and running for early voting as well as mail-in voting. And of course, the polls will be open next week on November 3rd. So be sure to be there to vote this year. That's all for now. Be well and stay safe. And we will see you next time on Our Town, the show about Rochester.
I'm a little monster.